And I have to say I've been a little bit shocked when I've got them all together like this. Hello and welcome to my first State of the Collection video. Hopefully this can fill some of that empty void between Christmas and New Year. I would say that for the price of one luxury watch or a used car, I have over a 2-year period been able to build up this collection. It's given me a lifelong interest, a new passion, and the ability to start a YouTube channel. So this is as much of an opportunity for me as it is for you to get all the watches together in one place and have a good overview of the collection, because you rarely get to see them all together like this. There's been a few watches that haven't made it, sadly, to the end of the year. Perfectly fine watches that have been reviewed on this channel, but I just wasn't wearing them, so really there's no point keeping them. There's also been a couple of interesting surprises. I'm surprised how little I've worn my Grand Seiko, which started this channel. It was a grail watch for me. I put it on, I don't seem to wear it for long. But I'm very surprised at how much I have worn Seiko dive watches, the Seiko Monster in particular, and even my Pagani Design GMT watch. Something about the case shape, the fit on the wrist, that's what it's all about. Now there are at present 35 watches in total. That figure is far too high. It has dropped down to 32 and then it crept back up to 35. Apologies to my girlfriend if this is the first time you are hearing this. Don't worry, darling, I know you didn't think it was 35, but I think you thought around 25. But don't worry, some of those watches were less than £40 and you know about the big ones. My first impression is that I'm a little bit shocked. There are far too many watches there. This has been a year of rapid accumulation, and it most definitely shows. It's certainly a varied collection, and there's not a lot of duplication. The standouts, I would say, for me are the Zodiac on first impressions, the AliExpress watches. I think the Vostok Amphibia pushes well above its weight, and there's a little bit of duplication. I would say the Spinnaker Haas, the Monster, they pretty much do the same job. But there's quite a bit of variety in there. So we'll now take a quick look at each watch. Now these two sadly represent a time that has passed. Just 6 or 7 years ago, you could get these, the Seiko Sari 57 and the Sari 55, for less than $300, and this sort of value you just will not find again from Seiko. Sapphire crystal, 41mm case, less than 12mm thick, turned down lugs so they just hug the wrist beautifully, signed crown, display case back. These two beauties aren't going anywhere. My two gorgeous everyday citizens, the Seosa on the right and the JDM 38mm automatic on the left. I would say the Seosa knocks spots off the other one for appearance. However, the watch on the left has exceptional lume. You can't really get them in this country, and it has the 9 series movement, whereas the Seosa has the 8 series movement. Here are my two GMTs, the Glycine Airman on the left and the Pagani Design World Timer on the right. I love both of these. They're so quirky. The Pagani was only £77 from AliExpress, and it keeps perfect time to the second, can you believe? While the Glycine with its Swiss movement is actually 15 seconds a day fast. So I can adjust that, but makes you think. Here are two watches that you will be very familiar with if you watch the channel regularly. My Grand Seiko on the right that started the channel, 9F quartz, service-free life of 50 years, exceptionally well made. And my King Seiko on the left that has so many features that I love. The way the light plays with the indices and the hands, the turned down lugs that just hug the wrist, 37mm case. The Grand Seiko is a 39mm case. These watches, to me, they represent the pinnacle, really, of Seiko. Now here are my only two pilot stroke field watches. Flieger, there's a Flieger on the left, the Laco Augsburg Blue Strand. That's got a Miyota movement in, it keeps perfect time, and it actually has my best loom, now that I've got rid of my Citizen ProMaster. And my Pagani design field watch on the right, recently reviewed, £55, delivered to the UK. Excellent. I'm not sure if this Laco might be getting moved on. I don't wear it much, but it is a beauty. Now here we have the two watches that I had before I started collecting watches. I don't think I did too bad. The diesel on the left has quite a lot of uniqueness about it, especially that crystal that reflects the light. And the Citizen on the right is an Eco Drive. It's the only chronograph I have, and it has some sentimental value. That won't be going anywhere. I don't have many dress watches. There could be a reason for that. These are the only two. The Citizen Eco Drive on the right, that was a used buy. And the Seiko Sur 309 on the left. Offered exceptional value, really, if somebody wanted a dress watch. Sapphire crystal, 40mm case, and a beautiful dial. Two little eBay finds that I'm particularly proud of. My West End watch Sauer Prima, 35mm on the left, hand wind, and another little hand wind, this Services watch, new old stock, a Swiss movement from the early 70s, I believe, stuck in a drawer somewhere, never used. Now, large dive watches are definitely an area that I could have some duplication. I've got the Breitling Super Ocean Steelfish from 2008 with its ETA movement on the right. Beautiful all-round watch, that. I like it every time I get out of the box. And then I've got the Steel Dive, recently reviewed from AliExpress on the left, keeping perfect time. Interestingly, this watch from AliExpress is less than 5% of the price of this watch. And they do very similar jobs. I'm going to get shot in the comments for that. My two very quirky Vostok amphibias, I would imagine Russian dive watches. I would imagine the wrist presence of the one on the left in particular is very similar to what you would feel with an Omega Seamaster Heritage 300. If you don't know much about Vostok, it's well worth a look. The Russians had to resort to using their own ingenuity to make great value dive watches, and these things will last forever. And look at this absolute honey. The watch that introduced me to Seiko dive watches, the original monster. You just shake it and it starts ticking. Rugged, unique, quirky, exceptional loom, and I love it. This will not be going anywhere. Now these two are a recent little Christmas treat to myself while I could still find them. They come as a pair, and they are the Antarctica editions from 2021 of the Seiko dive watches. Seiko every year do a Save the Ocean collection. These two are a set. I particularly like these. I wanted to get them while they were still available, and I love the glacier white icy dial and the little penguin feet that wander up the left hand side of each dial. The loom's fantastic. It's a rugged 4R36 movement in each watch, and these won't be going anywhere. Two Spinnaker dive watches, quite large. The Flus Oxblood on the right, and the Haas limited edition from last year on the left. Both have sapphire crystal, ultra reliable movements, Seiko movements, signed crowns, and curved lugs, so these things just hug the wrist. They fit great, but they are large. Now, what a pretty pair these make. These are my two skin divers, the Baltic Aquasaph on the left with its Miota movement, and the Zodiac Super Seawolf on the right, Swiss movement, 38mm. What a bonny pair. I think I've chosen quite well. Do these Seiko 5s need consolidation, or is it worth it? Why bother? There's quite a bit of variety there, isn't there? These are my two modern Seiko 5s, even though they're no longer made now. You can still find them new if you're lucky, because there's a lot of stock. 37mm, 7S26 simple movement, and for me these two, the SNK L45 on the left and the SNX S79 on the right, represent great value Seiko 5s. These will not be repeated. Right, and we're getting towards some quirky vintage Seiko 5s here. This is a tiny little 34mm on the left with a 6309 movement, which ran between 1976 and the 80s. And this one on the right is handmade. I had a new dial. This did have a 6309 movement, but I ended up getting a new dial, new handset, new movement. So the only thing that is original about this is the case. Quite a nice case. And it's lovely on the wrist, this. Pretty pair of these, aren't they? Vintage Seiko 5s, impulse buys on eBay. They've both got the 7009 movement where you push the crown and the date jumps. I got these because of the case design. I love both of them. They're both a bit different. I haven't seen them before or since. They're not worth a great deal, but I'll keep them. Two little manual wind HMT watches from India that I've grouped in with the Seiko 5s because they're so similar. I was very attracted to these designs. They weren't expensive, these watches, and they've both got a couple of problems. The second hand needs replacing on this one, and this one doesn't keep perfect time. In fact, it doesn't keep great time at all. But I love the design. I'm going to look a little bit more into the history of HMT, and these are just quirky little everyday watches I could wear. But let me know. What do you think? What would you change? Would you half the entire collection? Or do you think it's okay? Comments are welcome. So there you have it. That's my collection. Quite interesting and varied, I would say, with different value levels. Some surprises. Thanks very much for subscribing, watching. There'll be a lot of things happening next year. I want to consolidate this collection quite substantially. I'm also going to start saving for something quite big. And there's always going to be more content coming because the world of watches simply doesn't stand still. 2023 has been a bumper year. Watches that you were lusting after in 2022 were superseded in 2023. So all the best wishes for the new year, and let's see what 2024 holds in store.